So we're now looking at a slide of the ovary. And my best estimate on this one is that it's about 40x total magnification. You can see from the scale in the bottom right-hand corner that it's about 8 millimeters. And in this view, we can see that there are primordial follicles out here on the edge. Those primordial follicles will get called up and eventually they will mature under the influence of estrogen to become these Graafian follicles. And the Graafian follicle is where you have an ovum ready for ovulation. So we're not going to ask you to make a distinction between the term ovum and oocyte. The basic difference is that the two terms refer to different stages of development. So now you're looking at two views of the ovary that have been magnified quite a bit. So the estimation is about 400 times total magnification. And again, the ovum or oocyte is circled in green. You can see there's a couple at the top here, another one at the bottom, and I haven't circled them all. The oocytes live in these follicles. So out at the periphery, we're able to see the primordial follicles, and you can't really see them very well in this top slide, but they'd be in these areas at the periphery of the slide. And again, those are very immature ova who are waiting to get their signals and that they can mature into these Graafian follicles and mature ova that are ready for fertilization, ready to go out to the fallopian tube for fertilization. So I've again circled the Graafian follicles or the mature follicles so that you can see those. And you can notice a little bit better here in this area, there's quite a bit of fluid. And part of what that fluid does is when ovulation occurs and the ovum is being essentially kicked out of the follicle to the fallopian tube, the fluid helps just a little bit to create a tide. It's also there to help nourish the ovum. There's nutrients in there that nourish the ovum while it's developing. And then lastly, we'll look at the corpus luteum, which is sometimes called the scar of ovulation or the leftover tissue from ovulation. The corpus luteum is that basically the leftover follicle tissue without the ovum that is left after ovulation has occurred. And part of its importance is that it will secrete some estrogen, but maybe somewhat more importantly, it will continue to secrete progesterone from day 14 or the day after ovulation till the end of the uterine cycle, just about the end, to maintain and keep building up the uterine lining, the endometrium, just in case there's a fertilized ovum that needs a place to implant. And eventually it will turn into the corpus albicans and then shrink a little bit more.